Have you ever looked at the Great Pyramid of Giza and just thought, how did a civilization from 4,500 years ago, without modern machinery, build something so massive, so precise, that it has stood the test of time? For centuries, this question has baffled historians, engineers, and dreamers alike. Theories have ranged from the plausible to the outright bizarre. But today, we're going to sift through the sand, decode the hieroglyphs, and piece together the most credible evidence to solve this ancient engineering marvel. Let's start with the scale of the challenge. The Great Pyramid of Khufu is made of an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks, most weighing between 2.5 and 15 tons. Some of the granite beams inside the king's chamber weigh up to 80 tons. To put that in perspective, 80 tons is the weight of about 12 adult elephants. How on earth did they quarry, transport, and lift these colossal stones to a height of nearly 150 meters? For a long time, the dominant theory, popularized by the Greek historian Herodotus, was that it took 100,000 workers over 20 years, using massive ramps and brute force. It painted a picture of a monumental, almost superhuman effort. But modern analysis suggests this isn't the full story. For one, feeding and housing 100,000 people would have been a logistical nightmare, and the construction site itself isn't large enough to accommodate so many workers at once. Archaeological discoveries in recent decades have painted a much clearer and, frankly, more ingenious picture. Excavations near the pyramids have uncovered the remains of a purpose-built workers' village. Far from being a miserable labor camp, this town had bakeries, breweries, and medical facilities. Analysis of animal bones shows the workers ate prime cuts of beef, a diet fit for skilled, respected artisans, not just laborers. It seems the workforce was more likely around 20,000 to 30,000 skilled Egyptians, who worked in rotating shifts. So, we have a skilled workforce. Now, how did they move the blocks? The quarry for the limestone was relatively close by, but the granite for the inner chambers came from Aswan, over 800 kilometers to the south. The answer lies in Egypt's greatest natural resource, the Nile River. The ancient Egyptians were masters of navigation. They would transport these massive blocks on wooden boats during the annual Nile flood, which brought the water level much closer to the Giza Plateau. But here's where a groundbreaking discovery changes everything. An ancient papyrus, known as the Diary of Mira, was discovered in 2013 at a port on the Red Sea. Mira was an official, a middle manager, in charge of a crew of about 40 elite workers. His diary, the only first-hand account of the pyramid's construction ever found, details the transportation of limestone blocks from the Tura quarry to Giza. He describes a system of man-made canals, a water delivery system specifically engineered for the pyramid's construction. His team would load the blocks onto boats, navigate these canals right up to an inland port just meters from the pyramid's base. This discovery confirmed what archaeologists had long suspected. The Egyptians didn't just use the Nile, they manipulated the entire landscape, bringing the waterway directly to their construction site. It was an astonishing feat of hydroengineering. Okay, so the stones are at the base. The next big question is, how did they get them up? The classic image is of a single, massive, straight ramp stretching from the ground to the top. But an external ramp, long enough to reach the pyramid's apex at a manageable gradient, would have been a construction project almost as large as the pyramid itself. It would have required an enormous volume of material and would have needed to be dismantled afterward. Yet we find little evidence for such a structure. This has led to more sophisticated ramp theories. One popular idea is the internal ramp or internal spiral theory, proposed by French architect Jean-Pierre Odin. Using 3D modeling, he argued that the Egyptians built an external ramp for the lower third of the pyramid. Then, to get the blocks higher, they constructed a spiral ramp inside the pyramid's outer casing as they built upwards. This theory cleverly solves several problems. It explains the lack of evidence for a huge external ramp. It also explains a strange anomaly detected by microgravity scans in the 1980s Al-Dense, spiral-shaped feature inside the pyramid. According to Houdin, this could be the void left by the now empty construction tunnel. This internal ramp would have had openings at the corners to allow workers to turn the giant blocks, which might correspond to certain niches and irregularities still visible on the pyramid today. What about lifting the stones into place? We often think of levers as simple tools, but the Egyptians were masters of mechanical advantage. By using wooden levers, rockers, and a lot of coordinated effort, teams of workers could incrementally lift and pivot these multi-ton blocks into their final positions with incredible precision. The joints between the blocks are so fine that you couldn't even fit a piece of paper between them. This level of craftsmanship required not just strength, but immense skill and patience. Combining these elements, we get a holistic picture that is far more impressive than just brute force. It was a project defined by brilliant planning, sophisticated engineering, and incredible resource management. First, you have a well-cared-for, skilled workforce of Egyptian citizens. Second, a masterful system of canals and ports that turned the desert landscape into a logistical highway. Tier, an ingenious combination of external and internal ramps that allowed for efficient construction without creating a secondary monument to dismantle. And finally, the skilled use of simple machines like levers and rollers, applied with precision and teamwork. The construction of the pyramids wasn't impossible magic or the work of a lost super. It was the pinnacle of ancient Egyptian ingenuity. It was a testament to their deep understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and engineering. They aligned their monument to the cardinal points with an accuracy that would be a challenge even today. They organized a massive labor force, not through fear, but through shared purpose and provision. They transformed their environment to serve their goal. So, the next time you see a picture of the pyramids, don't just see a pile of stones. See a symbol of human potential. See the culmination of generations of knowledge, a national project that united a people, and a masterclass in project management that has remained unrivaled for 4.5 millennia. The mystery isn't that they built it. The mystery is that we ever doubted their incredible ability to do so. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button, subscribe for more dives into ancient mysteries, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Let me know in the comments which ancient wonder you'd like us to investigate next. Until then, stay curious.